I thought. Okay, so the only reason I'm bringing up this part of the play is because it's the only one I'm sure is in the second half of the play. The end where there's all those images supposedly projected on the walls. Or where am I supposed to go with this?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay.
You go.
All the images that are projected on the walls, and what's interesting to me is how, like, Mrs. Hall or Katori, like, kind of, like, what I imagine is, like, people, when I imagine a play, I imagine people just, like, picking up, like, a class set or a set of the books and, like, kind of doing what they can to put that play on in whatever setting they're, like, provided. For instance, like, if it's a civic center or something, if somebody wants to put that play on, they kind of have to just take the booklet, or the book that Katori wrote, and just, like, do what they can with it to put that play on. And what's interesting for me was to imagine, like, how everybody across the United States would depict that scene of, like, all the different historical moments being projected on the walls. And for some reason not for some reason, because it reminded me directly of We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel, and, like, it was just kind of, like, listing off different, like, parts of history. But this one was, like, directed at Black history, which I thought was interesting. And I thought for some reason I feel like this might be a stretch for you guys, and saying it out loud might be silly, but thinking about the different, like, ways that people, like, fight to put on a production, and, like, the dedication somebody has to have to, like, make something like that happen, makes me think of, like, the different ways that people had to fight for, like, their rights. I don't know, I just thought that was interesting to imagine while reading. Anyway? No?
Was that a question?
Yeah. Did anybody else feel that way?
I agree. That's what I was about to say that.
And, okay, here's one of my questions. Does anyone else here see Beyonce as God in like, if anybody would play God, it would be Beyonce.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Anybody have a comment on that?
I agree. Do you see Beyonce?
I mean, like, she's Illuminati, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Question. MLK persuasiveness to go back to Memphis shows what about his character, in your opinion?
Are you saying that when he goes back to the second?
Like when
after the garbage strike?
Like after the first strike, when everyone, like, the riot breaks out and he has to leave.
Yeah,
everyone tells him not to go, but he decides that he still wants to go. Like, what does it show about?
He said he is going back because he promised people, so, like, that's just loyal and he's determined.
I think it also shows, like, that, well, because he wants to go back, you know, he feels for these garbage workers, and everyone advises him, like, no, we don't have time for that, we can't do that, this isn't the right, like, tactical move, and it just shows that he's, like, yeah, he's planning it out, and he wants to accomplish his goal, think it all through, but at the same time, he's very guided by his emotions. He does what he feels is right, even if people tell him, you know, it's not logically what you need to be doing right now. Still wants to do it.
Well, not to take, like, well, I am taking the cynical view here, but I mean, like, at that time when the police started to break up the first march and it got violent and he got wheeled away, I mean, he was getting ridiculed all across the nation. Like, all the papers were like, oh, he just flees when things get bad, you know, this guy preaches nonviolence, but really he's just a coward. And I mean, that had to have some sort of effect on him. I mean, he had to have some, like, feeling that he had to redeem himself in that manner, I think. I guess I'll pose a question now. So I mean, at the end of the play, we find out Kim is an angel, and, like, he talks to God and all that, and they tell him he's about to die. I mean, obviously that's not what happened in real life, but I think in some way the way that Hall portrays this night in Memphis, he sort of revealed the truth in a way. Like, I mean, we knew that he was under constant fear of death and all that. And I mean, after there was supposed to be like a bomb plot or something in the church that he gave the Mountaintop speech at before the night that's portrayed in the play, and so I was wondering to what extent do you think that the whole thing with him having a premonition of dying and preparing himself for that was like actually what happened?
Sorry, what?
I agree.
I'm sorry.
Wait, to what extent the what?
Sorry.
Do you think that he actually knew that, like this was time?
Sorry.
In the play or in real life?
Well, he already had been like he was always under constant threat, and like it shows on the documentary, I think it is, that he gets on the plane and then everyone has to get off the plane because they have to check the plane for bombs since Martin Luther King is traveling on the plane, and just like knowing that everywhere he goes he has to make sure that there's no bomb or bugs to try to catch him off guard. I feel like he already kind of like he was aware that he can't escape it for that long, but I don't think he was like expecting to die like right then.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that because he's such a big leader and a civil rights person, like he knows that he's always under constant fear of death, and I think that's why in the end he comes to say that dying is okay, partly because he knows it's coming. Yeah.
And he also thinks that dying for your cause is like their satisfaction in that, and so that like helps them to not fear like pain or death.
There were some quotes, I think, in the video. I don't remember who said it, but or if it was like a King quote or someone talking about it, but it was basically that you can't control when you die. All you can do is make sure you're doing the right things when you die, and you die for the right cause. So I think that was just his attitude. He wasn't thinking about, well, I mean, he was obviously scared about his death, but like, he couldn't just constantly be thinking, am I going to die tonight, am I going to die tonight? He'd just go on with what he was doing, and he knew he'd be doing the right thing when he died, and he'd die, I guess he'd become a martyr and everything, and nothing else he could do. Question. I sort of have one of those. No, okay, so this is a more like technical thing about the play that I thought was interesting. That like in a lot of plays, the stage directions, like regardless of what the attitude of the dialogue is, the stage directions are just very formal. In this one, she uses she uses vulgarity and really colloquial language in a lot of the stage directions. What do you think the effect of that is, and why do you think she put that in?
Well, I think that's to make it more realistic. Like, Kame is not like a very high person. She's like a maid in a motel. It's not very high class, so it's trying to portray like the lower class in a way.
It's also kind of like going against the norms. So, like you said, they aren't as formal as a normal stage production would be, and also it kind of ties in with the whole topic at hand, how they're trying to go against the oppression and I guess the norms of society, which were kind of to be racist, I guess, for most white people. So.
Instead of like you guys are talking about like the effect of the stage directions being so informal or not informal, I think instead of like trying to like come across that way, I think it's more of like trying to continue with the mood of the play even while like you're learning to put it on, like while the people are learning what to do within it, because like it just shows like the authenticity and like how like not, I don't know, I'm kind of lost what I was trying to say. Instead of as her purposely doing like making an effort to have the play come across in some way as a book, I think it's more important that she kind of stayed in like the vicinity of the way they were talking to sort of stay in character in a way, even if anybody?
For the
Yeah,
actors.
for the actors to like.
Viewers.